What's up, everyone? Want to record my quick thoughts on Battlefield Hardline now that I beat the campaign over this past weekend. So here's my quick little review. Alright, so I've been playing Battlefield since, the first Battlefield game I played was Battlefield Bad Company 2, right? And then when I got Bad Company 2, and it was an amazing game, I went back and I played the first Bad Company game, and then they made Battlefield 1943, was it? And I liked that one too. And then they made Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4, and we just haven't had we haven't had them return to the Bad Company series. So now Visceral has been handed the license to make this sort of spin-off cop drama thing. And you have a lot of people, a lot of the hardcore fans who really disagree with this opinion because it's not focused on military, and Battlefield is a military-style shooter, alright? I'm not in that camp, I just could care less. A good game's a good game, and when it really came down to it, the multiplayer side of Battlefield Hardline is really the same thing as Battlefield 4 with less content, but you're just playing as cops and robbers. I mean, there's no real difference at all. But I'm not reviewing the multiplayer because I don't believe in reviews for multiplayer. I am reviewing the campaign. Now, I was really surprised by what I played. And I was surprised for the reason of how different and how refreshing the gameplay of Hardline was in comparison to the previous Battlefields. Alright, I never really thought any of the campaigns to the Battlefield series, and keep in mind, I'm talking about Bad Company 1, 2, and Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4. I never thought any of the campaigns were anything spectacular. Alright, people say that they're like completely in love with Bad Company 1 and Bad Company 2 in terms of the campaign. And yeah, you have that character development there, you have a likable cast, you have, a funny storyline and humor, but it's not anything on the degree of, wow, this is pretty interesting, or wow, I'm having like an enjoyable time. You're just killing people and just shooting. It's basically a shooting gallery the whole ride through. And especially with Battlefield 3 and 4, they try to make it this blockbuster action thing, especially with Battlefield 4 more so than Battlefield 3. So Hardline is formatted in terms of a TV show. So you have different episodes. There's 10 episodes total, and each episode is going to take you around an hour, a little bit more than maybe a little bit less, depending on what you're doing. Some chapters are shorter than others, but the bottom line is that you're going to be spending around 8 hours in this campaign, which is substantially longer than Battlefield 4's 4 to 5 hour campaign, and as well as Battlefield 3. So you have a much longer campaign, which I personally really liked. And added to this length is also, in terms of the play style, you're going to be enjoying yourself much more because it's a slower pace. You have, again, a likable cast, which is nice, and it's a really interesting plot. All right, now, I am not one to watch TV. I don't watch any TV at all. All right, the only show I ever watched was 24. That was like it. All right, but I never watched Breaking Bad. Never watched The Walking Dead. I just don't care about TV anymore. So I'm beyond that. When it came down to it, though, Hardline, in terms of its structure, was actually very, very well done, in my opinion. All right, you had these episodes. And, each episode would end with a, cliffhanger or whatever, and then you would go ahead and play the next episode. And it's formatted like a TV show, again. It'll end, and it's like Netflix. It'll be like, oh, press X to play the next episode, and you have information about the next episode. And, if you quit the game, you actually get a quick, next time on Battlefield Hardline, and they'll play like a quick trailer of things that you'll be doing in the upcoming episode, which I thought was actually pretty cool. The biggest thing about this campaign and why it was enjoyable was the fact that it has stealth gameplay. Now, everyone knows that I love stealth games. The stealth action RPG in general is my favorite genre in terms of games, alright? I absolutely love stealth games. I love taking my time and sneaking around because I really feel like it breaks up the monotony of the whole shooting thing. Let's just kill. You actually have some strategy involved, and there's a lot of time. A lot of people can't do stealth because it's boring. You're just sitting there, and sometimes you will have to sit there and wait for an enemy to walk around the whole area before you can make your move. I just personally find that fun, some people don't, alright? But Battlefield Hardline lets you play in multiple ways. You can go ahead and shoot everyone up, or you can go ahead and stealth throughout the experience, all right? For the most part, the game does cater more towards stealth because you have these special, they call them VIP warrants arrests, right? That certain people, just regular enemies throughout the campaign will have a warrant attached to them, and it is your job as a police officer to arrest them and not kill them. You get a really big bonus, all right? You do reach a level in terms of, in the campaign itself, where you'll be progressing, you'll be unlocking more weapons and more attachments for your weapons and so on and so forth. It's extremely easy to max out. Like, I maxed out, I want to say halfway through the campaign, I was already maxed out in terms of levels. So it didn't take a lot of effort. And keep in mind, I played it on the hard difficulty, which is recommended by the developers themselves. It's the way they want you to play it. So, and I found the experience to be very well balanced. It wasn't particularly tough at all. It was just, you being careful. And because I did stealth, I wasn't in gunfights constantly, so it wasn't like I was under pressure to try and shoot someone and not get shot, alright? There are certain segments, though, where you will have to engage in a gun battle, and the shooting's pretty much straightforward. It's the same thing out of the Battlefield series. It's made with the same engine, it runs on the same resolution as Battlefield 4, so there isn't much difference really there. There is less weapons than in Battlefield 4, so don't expect to find RPGs and have helicopters coming and doing all this, epic stuff that happened in Battlefield 4 where everything was just a big explosion blockbuster. This is more toned down, and I really felt like it was better because of that. It's still not to the point where I thought it was realistic, and Hardline goes for more blockbuster than it does for realism, which I still thought the campaign was enjoyable. It just would have been nice if you really got that sense of, okay, this is a realistic portrayal of actually being a cop and actually being in this sort of environment. You do have these high, big moments in the campaign where things just blow up and it's going crazy and you're doing these, crazy, Hollywood blockbuster action scenes and stuff. And that's and they have those in TV shows and whatnot, but I really felt like Hardline would have been really, really cool if it did portray a more realistic nature of being a cop rather than the more blockbuster TV show-like thing that it actually went for. Alright, that's not to say that it's not enjoyable, I'm just saying that don't expect anything realistic here. It's not going to be like you're watching Cops, but you're actually playing the game. It's not going to be like that. It's going to be more like you're watching, that show Heat. It's gonna be more like that, but a little bit more explosions and stuff. So the story is interesting enough to keep you pushing through it. All right. It is also, you have these characters that really do add flavor, and this is what I really like, is that they kind of took the humor back from the Bad Company series and they implemented it into Hardline. So you have this really likable cast of, really bad people and really shady people that are really out for themselves, but it's just the banter between them it's quite funny, and you have people that you absolutely hate and people that it's kind of like a love-hate relationship with some of these characters, and just some of the sheer stuff that goes on. It's funny, and it makes you smile and makes you laugh a few times. So they actually, it is pretty funny, but with the characters and how they develop them and their dialogue and stuff between each other. So, going back to the stealth mechanics, all right, because this is obviously the big thing. This is what really made Battlefield Hardline, in my opinion, the best Battlefield campaign in the series, was this inclusion of stealth. Now, the levels are they're realistic in terms of structure and how they're laid out, but it is still fairly linear up until the last level, and we'll talk about the last level in a bit. All right, no spoilers, but the levels are laid out to cater to stealth, and what you can do during stealth, and typically, this is what you're going to be doing, is as a cop you have the option to basically yell freeze. And you can freeze up to 3 people, so 3 different enemies will sit there and throw their gun down and put their hands up, and you can go ahead and arrest them for more bonus experience to unlock more weapons and, get better upgrades and whatnot. There's part of this which is kind of unfortunate, and it's the predictability of everything, alright? every single time you say freeze, there is no doubt. As long as you have your gun pointed straight at them, there is no doubt that these people are just going to throw up their hands. You can be one person, say freeze to 3 people who are armed with shotguns and assault rifles, and they will all just drop their weapons, go, yeah, well, okay, I'll keep my hands up. And it's like, in a realistic nature, if it was 3-on-1, and all you had was this badge and said, freeze, do you really think that that would have happened where everyone's like, oh, jeez, it's like, ugh. No, they would have blown them away. That's what it really would have happened. But for the sake of it being a video game, it's not like that. It's very predictable. You say freeze, they throw up their hands, whatever. Now, part of this mechanic is that they can still reach for their pistol, and if you don't keep your gun trained on them, and this kind of gets more challenging as you get more people, as you have to keep moving around your pistol to keep it aimed at everyone. Otherwise, the enemies will reach for their pistol, pull it out, and start shooting, and then you'll be dead, basically. So, for the most part, it's really easy, and it doesn't make sense, really, because you say freeze, right? And again, it's 3-on-1, so everyone's holding their hands up. Then you arrest someone. As you're arresting someone, the other 2 enemies could potentially just, start kicking your ass and start grabbing weapons and start shooting you as you're arresting their buddy. But, it's sometimes you have partners, and sometimes the partner will be like, all right, I got these guys, go ahead and arrest them. And it makes sense in that fashion, but in the fashion of it just being by yourself, and you will be by yourself, and you will be arresting people, up to 3 people, by yourself, it doesn't really make sense. So there's things like that I just wish that they would have made it more unpredictable, where it's like you can say freeze, but you're also risking that factor of that guy yelling and attracting the attention of other people, which if you say freeze and he's within line of sight of some other enemy, they will investigate, alright? But why not have the enemies be like, oh, guys, he's over here. It would have made it much better. Or again, if it was doing it in a more realistic fashion, make it unpredictable to the point where people just start running. There's no, unfortunately, and I kind of wish that there's no high speed, or not high speed, there's no foot chases, alright? There is car chases, or really it's getaway driving, so you're being chased by other people, and you're just driving, and things are exploding, and they're trying to kill you. So you do have vehicle warfare, I guess, but there's no on-foot, chases, and I really wish that they would have done that, because it would have added some variety to the gameplay if they would have turned it into something, where you're jumping off rooftops, or you're trying to, dodge traffic or whatever, and you just have to chase people. That would have been really, really cool. And you have to get in range to the point where you can use your taser and, just stun them. But, it's the stealth mechanics, the levels are laid out, you do have multiple pathways, and because you have things like a grapple hook and a zip line, you can look at the top of the building that's over to this far side of the map, and you're like, well, there's no ladder, and I want to enter over here, shoot the zip line up, and then you can climb up to this top of the building and get like a whole bird's eye view of the compound. It's things like that I really, really enjoyed about this campaign. So combined with the stealth mechanics, which are actually pretty good, to be honest, it makes it so much more enjoyable because you never played a Battlefield game like that. I sort of compared it to this level in Call of Duty Advanced Warfare where you're sneaking through this giant mansion. If the game, and this is really for Battlefield and for Call of Duty, to keep these games fresh, if they would have included stealth as a terms of a main gameplay option, it would have given you an entirely different feel of the game. It would have made it much less tedious and much more enjoyable for people like me who just don't want to sit there and just pull the trigger every single second they see an enemy. You can take your time, you can survey the area, and you can mark enemies and stuff like that. So after playing Hardline, I really hope DICE takes a look at Battlefield 5 or Bad Company 3, whatever they decide to do next, and add stealth as part of the main gameplay portion of it, a main gameplay pillar, because it really does help. It really does add this sense of variety to the gameplay that you just, it's different. You never played a Battlefield game with stealth mechanics like this before, and that's what really made Hardline enjoyable for me. The last level in particular is amazing because they literally, the last level of the game turns into Crisis 1, where they give you this pretty decent sized island, like a medium sized island, right? A full island that you can explore at your will. And there's multiple paths, and there's different things you can do. There's that secret area, a secret entrance you can get to your objective, and you just search around and run around and you know, find all this cool stuff. I really liked how that last level was laid out. It was just, again, if you guys played the first Crisis, it was very similar to that, where you have almost this open world and you can sneak through things and go on different paths and find, you know, and it's beautiful and you can find different areas. So, you know, I really had a good time with it. You know, I'm not gonna sit here and lie and say, it's Hardline, it's cheap, it's not made by DICE, it's not military. I had a good time with it. I had a very fun time with it, and I was quite surprised. And I actually do honestly think it's the best Battlefield campaign out of all the Battlefield games. 3, 4, Bad Company 1, Bad Company 2. I really do feel that way. So I'm going to give the Battlefield Hardline campaign a 4 out of 5. It's really a lot of fun, and you have a great likable cast. The stealth mechanics are it's a very nice welcome addition to the series. I really hope that DICE takes those stealth mechanics in a different fashion. You don't have to do the whole freeze thing, but allow us to play stealthily. Allow us to take down enemies. I mean, give us cones of visions and stuff, and give us multiple paths and sneaking through vents or whatever. Make it more RPG-like, so it can give us better variety, and it doesn't all feel like just one big explosions and just straightforward linear and just shooting people. You know, change up the pace of it, and it'll make it so much more enjoyable. So I'm gonna give Battlefield Hardline a 4 out of 5. It's a lot of fun. If you're just interested in the campaign, definitely wait for a price drop. Like I said, it's about 8 hours long. The story is nothing spectacular. I wouldn't say it's Game of the Year worthy. I just really feel like in terms of what we got previously with the Battlefield series, it is the best campaign. And multiplayer it's enjoyable, but there's some really bad spawns going on. Like I spawn and people are already shooting at me as I just spawned. So let's wait for them to patch that, but I'm not reviewing multiplayer, I'm reviewing the campaign, and luckily that actually turned out to be really, really good. So that's it. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and if you play Battlefield Hardline, let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys later. Have a good one.